Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is liminal space, the space between it on either side of or both sides of a transition. And there's a magic in this space. There's a magic in any transition that perhaps we can harness to create the transformation that we envision and dream of. Good morning, Rosalind. Welcome. It's great to be with you this 4th of July and to be with everybody else who's joining us. Thank you for being here. I was going to talk about the obvious, independence, freedom, and all of that, but instead, we're talking about liminal space, and it may take us to that conversation anyway, but we'll see what happens. And before that, let's just take a couple minutes to get ourselves present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the motion, the pressure, and the tickling and tingling when you stop. And allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that is the vehicle through which you experience all of life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're talking today about liminal space. And another way we can refer to liminal space is as the in-between. It's the transition point. And in any transition, there's magic where one thing is becoming another. And I think that that's probably a really, really powerful, positive way to characterize this moment in time for us, this space of transition, of upheaval and change. And we don't necessarily know what's next. So it's kind of like the cards are in the air. And or the coin is in the air, right? Cards, coin, whatever, that we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Kind of like Schrodinger's cat, right? We don't know if the cat's alive or dead until we open the box. And we haven't gotten to that point yet. We're still in the in-between. And there is a particular magic in the in-between, or what we might even consider to be chaos, in that there's a disruption. There's a shift and change occurring. And in that disorganization, there's the potential for a new order to emerge. And in this, I guess we are going to talk about freedom, right? Today being the 4th of July, Independence Day, we get to look at what does that mean? Because there's so many of our liberties that are being challenged. So many of our freedoms, freedom to be able to breathe clean air, drink clean water, even not just political freedoms, although, you know, these are fundamental freedoms, but political freedoms as well. Our right to vote is being challenged on all kinds of fronts, and um, our freedom of speech is being challenged. Our reproductive rights, all kinds of liberties that we have, in many cases, assumed for so long, are being threatened. So there's this space where we have the opportunity, even though outside circumstances may challenge the notion, we have the opportunity to be creating greater liberties, to be creating a greater sense. Oh, wow. Rosalind says, happy birthday in heaven, Erlinda Pisa, who is her mom. Well, happy birthday to Erlinda. And Rosalind, what a beautiful remembrance. Kanchana, welcome. How wonderful to have you joining us this morning. I don't think I've seen your name before, so it's great that you found us, and please feel free to engage in our conversation. We're talking about the power of liminal space, which is the space in between, in the midst of a transition. It's neither here nor there, or it's both here and there, and it's all the potentials in between. And so we were talking about liberties and freedom, and the freedom to live a healthy life. Wow. Wow. So Kanchana says, thank you. Left AM from India. Thank you. I am from India. Well, Kanchana, how wonderful to have you join us. We have another dear friend who joins us from India as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So in talking about freedom and liminal space, we are in a point of change. There's a lot of upheaval. And the thing about upheaval, or this interim space, is that upheaval uproots a lot of traditions, a lot of assumptions, and our experience can be one of chaos. In that chaos, where things are flying, at least what's happened is that the standard supports, the standard structures are being shifted. There's a potential for that shift and change. And in that potentiality, this liminal space allows us to access all these different components or elements to structure something new. It actually even allows us to generate something new. And one way of considering the liminal space is almost as a dream space. If we look at the space between waking and sleeping, that very rich place of presence where we have access to other dimensional awareness, where we're in a semi-conscious dream. Some people might say that that's our lives, that's how we live our lives. But in this semi-conscious dream state, we can bring forth potentials, ideas, visions that are otherwise inaccessible. And the power of that state to alter our awareness is profound. And not only our awareness, but this is a space, this liminal space between waking and sleeping is a space where we might have visions that actually alter our way of being on a core level, that the profundity of those awarenesses and revelations and experiences allow us to shift at our very core, as there's sort of a suspension of our common way of thinking and being. There was a quote that I read in a book about from Charles Eisenstein, saying that we are in a space between stories, that we have had a space, we have lived in a space where the story was a story. Here, Gia, welcome. So good morning and good evening. So Kanchana, Gia is our other friend from India. Gia Kanchana is from India. So what an amazing opportunity and a special day to have 2 out of the 3 people who are commenting today be from India. It's beautiful. How funny. Anyway, a space between stories. So the story that we've been living in culturally is one of a patriarchy, and in the US, a white patriarchy dominating the culture, a culture of separation, of domination and control, of competition, of polarities, of black and white, and right and wrong, and good and bad, or good and evil. And the new story that's emerging, again, an old story, we talked about this yesterday when we talked about beating the drum of the story. The new story is one of cooperation, collaboration, unity, unification, and in the space between, as we're making this transition from one space to the other, everything, all these potentialities are existing all in the same place, all in the same time. And I just had this image of all these things flying through the air, kind of like in the Wizard of Oz when the tornado has whipped up everything, and everything is just flying around in the air. Even, we talk about reality, and we've defined reality in a number of ways, and we say the past is the past, you can't change it. And the fact is, we're living through the changing of the past, because the stories that are being told are becoming more inclusive and richer, and not dominated by a white patriarchal culture, where all of a sudden we're recognizing that, oh my gosh, there were women that were involved in these stories. There were people of color. There were Black people and Indigenous people, and people from other countries, Hispanic people, all having deep influence in the formation of the culture that we live in, who have never before been recognized. So those are all these things flying around in the air. and the things that we're selecting, are shifting, where we're giving recognition to gender stories or lack of gender stories, or anti-gender stories. And again, people of color, people from all different orientations. And it is a time, we could say it's a time of chaos, and we could say it's a time of magic, because the rules of engagement have been disrupted and are being clung to and discarded all at the same time. That we see these greater extremes, and also are called to find our own place in this chaos of opportunity. It could be, we could call it chaos and disruption and destruction. We could call it opportunity, emergence, creation. It makes me think of Kali, where destruction and creation are all part of the same process. And the old has to pass away, and its death throes are often violent and disruptive and destructive as something new emerges. And so let's look at this liminal space, both in our own being, is the space of becoming, the space in which the caterpillar actually transmutes to become the butterfly, to become something utterly different. Apparently, the caterpillar, it becomes nothing but goo with imaginal cells, I think they're called, that emerge into a butterfly. So it is this dissolving of one form to then transmute into something entirely different. And the thing is that we don't know what the outcome is going to be. And that's why beating our drum, being present to our core, committing to the light, and to possibility is so important, because that intention, that intentionality, that clarity, that commitment, that vision, that dream is what is going to help to sort all the chaos, is going to help to create a new structure, new order of things, a new foundation. So through our intention, we are helping to crystallize the emergence from those imaginal cells, and to imbue them with this new potential. And the clearer we can be about the world we're dreaming into being, the more impactful we will be, the more power of possibility will be manifested. That we do have that we are actually shaping the emergence. We can be doing that in a conscious way by holding center, by being present, by being connected, by beating the drum of connection, collaboration, unity, communication, and re-educating ourselves to a new, maybe educating ourselves to a new paradigm. It requires watchfulness. It requires self-awareness, because we are also a function of the system in which we've been cultivated. And our prejudices run deeper than our awareness of them typically. You know, that we have predispositions, we have assumptions, we have stories that of which we're unaware, that are invisible to us because they have been what is for so long. And so it's in these liminal spaces that we have the ability to transcend the limitations of those stories. It's in liminal spaces that we have the ability to soar. Literally, in those spaces, we can become a bird or a dragon or a butterfly or a star. We can become anything. We're not bound by the limits of our rationality or our programming. And that's where revelation comes. That's where deep clarity comes. That's where the voice of our soul is able to sing out and ring out and alter our being at a molecular level even. That's where we get to harness the wisdom of the divine, you know, where we can sometimes be graced to touch that and be touched by it, be moved by it, be transformed by it. And we can access these spaces. I mean, this is also something that we can access in meditation or through traditional ceremony, medicine ceremonies, and there's a wisdom there that, again, is beyond our rational capacity. And when we step into that space, we're stepping into a communion, I think, with life itself, a collaboration with life itself, with consciousness itself, to guide our emergence individually and collectively into the next manifestation, whatever that is. We are in the becoming, and we are in the place between stories. And being between stories, we have a power of authorship that is very, very special and magical and powerful. There's an energy in this moment of time in which we're living that is an energy of creation. It makes me think of the churning waters of the ocean and the roiling skies of the heavens unleashing rain and hail and lightning and all this energy, all this primal force, and volcanoes. You know, it's interesting to, I like the image of the volcano actually, of this eruption of energy, and then the lava that then transforms landscapes. and the ash that goes into the heavens, and this fiery new birth. And it feels like that's what we're undergoing. And we don't know where it's going to take us. You know, if you're too close to the lava, it can consume you and incinerate everything in its path. And that yet it's creating new landscapes. So how can we use this liminal space individually? We can access it. We can presence ourselves. We can use it to find center, to find a place of connection. And we can move from that. We can find our inspiration and act from that. And we can listen to the whisperings, to the guidance, and find our direction from that. And we can be still also. And in that stillness, we can connect more deeply. So liminal spaces, there's magic there. And I invite us all to explore those spaces more deeply with an openness and curiosity, openness of heart and mind, to move into those spaces and to connect with Mama Gaia for our direction, for our clarity. And I think that's it for this morning on this Independence Day. Yeah. So I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I invite you to also check out the wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Living. And I'm so grateful for these mornings together and the opportunity to presence myself and be present to you. And until next time, so much love to you.